Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Short Attention Span webinar. This week, Kelly, we talk about how to unseat the competition.
It's a battle.
Oh, it is. It
Yeah.
is. All right, so here we go. So let's talk about the vulnerabilities, and this is where we left off last week. That, the number one reason that we lose an account is that it's not price, it's not service, it's not delivery. It's because the customer thinks that we've stopped working for them. So how can I ask someone, what have they done for you lately, this existing vendor, without saying to them, what have they done for you lately? What's a subtle way of saying that?
Well, I usually like to ask it in a three-part question. I like to say, what do you like about them? What do you wish they did differently? And when's the last time they brought you a new idea?
Okay.
And usually when I say that to a client or in a group, people are, wait, say it again. What do I ask? It's kind of amazing to me that more people aren't asking that question. But it's the fundamental beginning of overcoming that objection or of knowing that there's somebody else out there that's already doing the work.
Sure. Sure. Next up, I've bid a job. I lost the job. A month later, I pick up the phone and I call the customer and say, how did it go?
Yeah.
Right? Now, my competition probably hasn't done that because most of us don't. Thank you for the order, but we don't call and say, how did it go?
Right.
We supplied the wide format graphics for a trade show. How'd the show go for you? What could we have done differently? It's very important to follow up with that. How are you going to learn? How are you going to pick up the next order even? But it's just good. It's just flat out good business. And you're doing what the competition isn't, and you should point that out. Hey, Kelly, it's Bill Farquharson calling. How did everything go? By the way, the winning bidder, have they placed a call like this? Because this is what you buy when you buy from me.
Well, you also know that there's a slight chance that things went horribly wrong, and you can be the one to sweep in and go,
Yeah.
maybe that wouldn't have happened if you'd used us, but let's talk about what's happening next time. Obviously you're not going to say it that way, but you're going to, again, you're present, you're there, you're asking the questions.
Yes. Years ago, when I had office phones, of course, this is my office phone now, but when I had office phones, I get a phone call from Sprint, and I was doing work with Verizon at the time. And I said to the guy, yeah, I'm all set. I got Verizon, and they're fine. And the Sprint guy said to me, I'll never forget this. He said, what are they not doing for you? What do you wish you had that you don't have now? And it was one of those, really good questions. So one way to steal from the competition is to ask that question or find a way to ask, what aren't they doing? All right, and I don't think you need to, if you need to lead them, you might say, are they communicating? Do they call you or do you call them? And this is not to bash the competition, because it's never a good idea to bash the competition.
Right.
But you can plant the seed of doubt. People do business with me because I constantly bring them new ideas. Are they bringing you new ideas? Now that's closed-ended. So if that I'm trying to avoid. I want the customer to think about the stuff that they're not getting as opposed to stuff that they're getting.
You can use the magic wand theory if you want and say, if you had a magic wand,
Oh.
what would you be getting from them, or what would they do for, again, it's, you put your own spin on it, but you're really, the biggest point of that, and Bill, you said, do you lead them? The better way to do it is to ask the question and keep your mouth shut, even if it gets uncomfortable.
Right.
I have a lot of these conversations lately where I say something and then I shut my mouth, and there's a pretty significant amount of silence that goes on, but that's okay. We're not comfortable with it, but we need to get comfortable with it. You need to give somebody a chance to think about the question that you just asked them.
So we've said in the past that there's 3 reasons why someone buys from you. The first one is sales skills. The second one is product knowledge. The third one is customer knowledge. And that's important to the client. So if you're on the outside trying to bang the door and trying to get in, remember that one of the ways to make that happen is to stay top of mind with the customer. Send them articles, send them links, send them samples of what you've done in the past. But still keep up that, especially if you're talking about their industry. I read an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal. Here it is. It's about your industry. Or I remember talking about how your son was really into drones. Here's a really cool one that I saw at the Apple store. Something like that. Just that constant, I love the fact that you're always thinking of us.
Well, another really good example of that too is that on Twitter, when you follow somebody, when they tweet something and you favorite it or retweet it, they get a notification of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the, kind of the etiquette of Twitter is that thanks for the retweet, thanks for the favorite. There's this like very polite conversation going on around there that, again, it just, as you said though, Bill, it's just one more way to be top of mind. Like you see something they did, you retweet it, and all of a sudden they Bill retweeted your article. Oh, thanks, Bill. Yep. Even if they don't say it, it's at least they're getting notified that you did that, you know? So
true. Top of mind. Top of mind. All right, terrific. Well, Kelly, thanks very much. Now we know how to steal from the competition. And we'll talk to you all next week. We'll have new clothing on because this is winter. We'll be in spring the next time.
Woo!
And we'll be close anyway. And we'll talk to you all on another short attention span webinar.